Guys, if you've got a deck project coming up, I got to tell you that thinking about your attachment from the deck to the house before you start is super critical, because I can't tell you how many rot projects I've taken on over the years on remodels where the deck ledger was the source of the water intrusion. On this video, we're going to go out to Missouri builder Jake Bruton. He's been an OG Build Show contributor, and he's got 3 different deck ledger conditions on one project. Let's go check out Jake Bruton on deck ledgers. Let's get going.
Hi, I'm Jake Bruton, and today on the Build Show Network, I want to talk about 3 different decks at our Hilltop Arrow project and the reasons behind all 3 of them. But most importantly, we're going to cover this little egress deck off the master. Let's do it now. Our starting point in this conversation is the deck to wall connection. And in reality, that's kind of what we're going to talk about in the whole video. So let's start with our traditional wood frame deck tied to the structure of the house. That's what we have out front. We have that as our walk ramp up to the building. The reason that we have it tied to the house is because it actually goes in and is captured by the house on one side. So we felt that it wasn't possible for us to completely disconnect that from the structure the way we do the other 2 decks. So let's talk about that front deck. It's traditional wood frame. It is mounted to the zip sheathing. It has a small spacer behind it. It has a deck ledger spacer behind it. That spacer is mounted to the sheathing, not to the siding. And then the deck flashing comes from behind the siding out and over the deck. It's a traditional assembly. The only thing that's out of the ordinary is that little void behind it. That little void is the same as the void behind our cladding. So we have a 3/8 space behind the siding behind me or behind anywhere on the house. And we have a 3/8 space behind that deck ledger. The reason for that space is that we want drying potential, both in the deck ledger and in the house. And anytime that we can integrate a space for air to move and for water to drain, that's the best case scenario for our assembly. That's why we preach constantly about our siding being on a rain screen. So I think that if you're going to wood frame a deck, that's our number 1. We have to have a draining drying space between the rim and the house. That's a given. There are deck ledger spacer products that are available on the market that are real easy to find and real easy to just keep a box of them on hand, which is what we do. But I think that that's a very important thing because we see constant problems with rot at that location. Anytime you have 2 things mushed together that can get wet, you're going to have problems with those 2 things drying once they are already wet. So, number 2, let's talk about the enormous balcony cantilever deck off the end. We've done some videos on it in the past. I'm sure you've seen content from Steve Basic or from myself about it. That thing is a cantilever, so it doesn't have supports going down, meaning it does have to be fastened back to something solid. Well, if it were a deck, it could just be attached to the house and then have some posts out at the end. Since it's a cantilever, it has posts near the house but not out at the end. It has to have all of its support back at the house, but it also cantilevers far enough that it needed to be made out of metal. Well, if we're going to take a big long piece of metal and hang it out, I think the rule of thumb for code is 1 out, 3 in. So if you're going to cantilever a foot, you need 3 feet back inside the building. Well, we can do something like that with steel. We could mount to those piers coming back. We could encapsulate that in our envelope, but then we would have a big piece of steel that hangs 10 feet out, gathering all that temperature from outside and then bringing it right in through the assembly because it has to continue inside of our assembly. That's a horrible idea from a energy standpoint, from condensation standpoint, to have something that is metal and outside come inside without some sort of thermal break. That's poor planning. That's a bad idea.